Have you ever taken a bite of a meal, looked at the person who cooked it, and just said, "Yeah, it's good"?
Only about 1,000 times. And then you just sit there, chewing in total silence, while they wait for you to say something else.
Exactly. It is the most universal awkward moment. Welcome back to Everyday English Learning, where we turn everyday moments into natural spoken English.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jake.
And I'm Lily. Today, we are saving you from those quiet dinner tables with food conversation, English made easy.
Because food is supposed to connect us. But when you are speaking a second language, sharing a meal can suddenly feel like a vocabulary test.
It really can. You want to sound friendly and polite, but your brain just freezes. You end up repeating the word delicious until it sounds completely fake.
Exactly. I ruined a dinner party last weekend because of this. I was eating a very strange potato salad, and I completely ran out of words.
Oh no. What made it strange? Was it a weird color or just a bad texture?
Let's just say it was aggressively green. I will tell you the full tragedy later, but the silence was heavy. I needed better phrases.
And that is exactly what we are giving you today. Soon, you will know how to describe flavors naturally, ask great questions, and keep the mealtime conversation flowing.
No more staring at your plate. We are going to help you sound friendly, relaxed, and confident at any table.
Okay, we have to start there. Aggressively green? Did someone drop an entire bottle of food coloring into this potato salad?
I think it was a tragic accident with spinach and maybe way too much pesto. But there I was, chewing this strange, cold green mass, and the host was staring right at me.
The classic host stare. They are watching you, just waiting for the compliment. And when you are speaking English as a second language, that stare feels like a ticking clock. You panic and just say, "It is very good."
Which is exactly what I did. And then she smiled and asked, "Oh, what do you like about it?" Total panic. My mind went completely blank.
That is the exact problem we are solving today. The common assumption is that you need a massive vocabulary of chef terms to talk about food. You think you need to identify every single herb and spice on your plate.
Right. You feel this pressure to say something like, I detect a hint of roasted garlic and a beautiful earthy finish. But no one actually talks like that at a normal dinner party.
Exactly. Unless you are a professional food critic on a television show, saying you detect an earthy finish just sounds ridiculous.
Okay, that is very true. If I said that to my friend, she would think I was making fun of her. So, if we avoid the fancy chef vocabulary, what should we do instead?
The secret is focusing on the experience, not the ingredients. You only need a few simple words to describe the texture or the general feeling of the dish.
Texture is a great word to know. That just means how the food actually feels in your mouth, right? Like if it is crunchy, smooth, or, in my case, weirdly chewy.
Yes, exactly. And instead of trying to name the exact spices, you can talk about the general flavor. Is it savory, sweet, rich, or light?
Okay, so if I am eating a heavy pasta dish, I can just say, "This is so rich and comforting." That sounds 100 times better than just repeating that it tastes good.
It sounds natural because it sounds like you are genuinely enjoying the moment. Another great safe phrase is, "This has so much flavor." It works for almost everything, and it makes the cook feel wonderful.
This has so much flavor. I like that a lot. But let me challenge you on this, Lily. What if you want to ask a question to keep the conversation going?
Asking questions is actually the best strategy of all. If you take a bite and you do not know how to describe it, ask the host. You can say, "This is delicious. What is your secret ingredient?"
That is brilliant. It takes all the pressure off you. People love talking about their own cooking, so they will talk for 5 minutes while you just sit back and eat.
Exactly. Or you can ask, "How did you learn to make this?" It turns a simple food compliment into a real, meaningful conversation about their life and their memories.
I really wish I had asked my friend that. Instead, I just stared at my green potato salad in absolute silence. But I have a much harder question for you now.
Oh, I am ready. Bring it on. What is the situation?
Those positive phrases work perfectly when the food is actually enjoyable. But what happens when the food is truly terrible and you still have to be polite?
The terrible food situation. That is the absolute ultimate test of your English diplomacy. You are sitting there, trapped at the table, with nowhere to hide.
You really are. A few years ago, my new neighbor invited me over for dinner to celebrate my new apartment. He made this traditional fish stew from his hometown. He had been carefully cooking it for 6 long hours.
Oh, wow. When someone spends 6 hours on a meal, the pressure to love it is immense. You feel like you have to react perfectly.
I knew that, but then I took my first bite. It was so intensely salty and sour that my eyes literally started watering. I was chewing as slowly as humanly possible, desperately trying not to make a face.
The slow chew of despair. I know that feeling so perfectly well. You cannot spit it out, but you also know you cannot eat an entire bowl of it. What did you actually say to him?
I panicked and used the absolute most dangerous word in the English language. I swallowed heavily, forced a giant smile, and said, "Wow, this is interesting."
Oh no, Jake! Not interesting. That is the universal English code word for, "I hate this, but I am trying to be nice."
I know. I saw his proud smile completely vanish. He knew exactly what I meant. I tried to quickly recover by saying, "It has a very distinct flavor," but it was too late. The dinner was ruined.
That is such a common trap for language learners. We use the word interesting because we do not want to lie and say it is delicious, but we still want to say something generally positive.
Right. You think you are just being neutral, but native speakers immediately hear it as a polite insult when it is applied to a homemade meal. So, what is the actual polite retry for that situation?
You have to pivot away from the taste entirely and focus on their effort or the ingredients. You can use a sentence model like this. "I have never had anything like this before. What kind of fish did you use?"
Oh, I see. I just throw a question right back at them. I have never had anything like this before. That is completely true, and it sounds exactly like a compliment.
Exactly. And if they keep waiting for you to eat more, you have to shift the blame to yourself. You can say, "This is so unique, but I am realizing I have a very low tolerance for this much spice."
Shift the blame to myself. I really like that strategy. So I am basically saying, it is not your terrible cooking, it is just my own weak stomach.
Yes, you take the fault so their pride is completely protected. Another great survival phrase is, "I am pacing myself." That means you are eating slowly on purpose so you do not get full too quickly.
I am pacing myself. That is a brilliant excuse. It buys you so much time. I could have just moved the salty fish around the bowl and pretended I was saving my appetite for dessert.
It works beautifully. You acknowledge the food, you protect the chef's feelings, and you survive the meal without having to eat something that makes you physically miserable.
These are fantastic survival tools for polite society. But let's be entirely honest here, Lily. Sometimes you are at a casual dinner with your closest friends, or you are eating late-night street food, and being this polite actually sounds completely unnatural.
You are completely right. If you are eating street food with your best friend at 2 in the morning, and you say, "This is so unique, I am pacing myself," they will think you have lost your mind.
Exactly. Or they will just laugh in my face. If my best friend makes me a terrible sandwich, I am not going to ask about his secret ingredient. I am going to tell him it tastes like salty cardboard.
Exactly. And that brings us to the most important distinction in everyday food conversation. We have to separate polite distance from casual honesty.
Polite distance versus casual honesty. That makes a lot of sense. The vocabulary rules completely change depending on how well you actually know the person sitting across from you.
Yes, they do. When there is polite distance, like with your new neighbor or a coworker, your primary goal is to protect the relationship. But with close friends, the goal is shared enjoyment, which sometimes includes shared suffering over a bad meal.
Shared suffering. That is so true. Some of my favorite memories are eating completely ruined burned meals with my brothers and just laughing together about how bad it is.
Because that honesty builds intimacy. So, if you are with close friends, or you bought some cheap street food that did not work out, you can just use casual honesty. You can say, "I am not going to lie, this is pretty rough."
I am not going to lie, this is pretty rough. I love that phrase. It is entirely honest, but it is not aggressive. It just states the fact that the food is not good.
Right. Or if you are at a casual restaurant and the food is just boring, you can simply say, "It is nothing special." You do not need to invent a diplomatic excuse or pretend it is a masterpiece.
It is nothing special. That is a very common feeling. But what if you are the one cooking? Let's say I invite you over, and I accidentally burn the pizza. I do not want you to lie to me, but I also do not want you to say it is rough.
Fair. If you are the cook, you actually have to give your guests permission to be honest. You can take a bite, make a face, and ask, "Be honest, did I overcook this?"
Oh, giving them permission is a great trick. Be honest. Did I overcook this? It shows that I already know it is not perfect, so my guests do not have to sit there politely chewing in silence.
Exactly. You remove the awkwardness for everyone. But there is one major limitation here. Even with casual honesty, you should never attack the food itself if it is a cultural dish, or something the other person genuinely loves.
That is a very good warning. If my friend loves a specific kind of strong cheese or a really fermented dish and I absolutely hate it, I should not say this is disgusting.
Never. Using words like disgusting or gross is always offensive, even with best friends. Instead, you make it entirely about your own personal preference. You say, "This is just not my thing," or "It is a little too strong for me."
This is not my thing. That is perfect. It is honest, it is casual, and it does not insult their favorite food. So we have polite survival phrases and we have casual honesty. But how do we actually remember all of these options when the food is sitting right in front of us?
You remember them by organizing them into a very simple mental system. When you sit down to eat, You just need to remember 3 action words: pause, pivot, or protect.
Pause, pivot, or protect. That sounds like a training manual for a secret agent, not a dinner party.
It really does. But when you are a language learner trapped in an awkward silence, you do need a survival strategy. Let's start with pause.
Okay, so pause means stopping to appreciate the food instead of just automatically saying it is delicious.
Exactly. You pause and find one specific thing to say. You focus on the texture, or you say, "This is so rich and comforting," or simply, "This has so much flavor."
That is step 1. Just one specific positive observation. What is step 2, the pivot?
To pivot means to completely change the direction of the attention. If you do not know what else to say about the food, you pivot the conversation to the cook.
Oh, I see. That is where the questions come in. I take a bite, say it has great flavor, and then pivot by asking, "What is your secret ingredient?"
Yes. Or you ask, "How did you learn to make this?" You completely solve the silence because they will start telling a story. This is the exact tool that would have saved your aggressively green potato salad tragedy.
It absolutely would have. If I had just asked her about the recipe, she would have felt complimented, and I could have just pushed the spinach around my plate. So that leaves the final step. Protect.
Protect is for the difficult situations. You are either protecting the chef's feelings with polite distance, or you are protecting your friendship with casual honesty.
Let's test this with a truly difficult case. Imagine you are at a formal business dinner. They serve you something completely unfamiliar, and after one bite, you realize you physically cannot swallow it. What do?
Oh, that is a nightmare. In a formal setting, you combine protect and pivot. You completely remove your opinion of the taste.
How do you do that without offending anyone or drawing attention to your plate?
You protect their choice by saying, "This looks incredible, but my stomach is a little sensitive tonight, so I am going to stick to the side dishes." And then you immediately pivot.
You pivot to work. You ask a business question right away so nobody has time to focus on your food.
Exactly. You say, "I am just going to enjoy these vegetables, but I wanted to ask you about the upcoming project." It is polite, professional, and it completely saves you.
That is remarkably smooth. You are basically a dinner party ninja now.
I try my best. So let's practice this right now. Listeners, imagine someone serves you a dry, boring piece of cake. You want to be polite, so you decide to pivot. What is a good question you can ask?
Take a few seconds to think of a friendly question.
You could ask, "This is so unique. What kind of flour did you use?" Or even, "How long have you been baking?"
Both of those are perfect. Pause, pivot, or protect. I finally feel ready to eat at a dinner table without panicking. Now we just need to review the exact vocabulary to make sure we remember it all.
That is exactly what we are going to do right now. Welcome to Meaning Moments, where we review the most important phrases from today so you can actually use them.
I definitely need a review. If my neighbor ever invites me over for another bowl of 6-hour salty fish stew, I need my vocabulary ready.
I do not think any amount of vocabulary can save you from that fish stew, Jake, but we will certainly try.
Thank you. I need all the help I can get.
Let's start with a word that helps you avoid sounding like a fake food critic. The word is texture.
Right. Texture is simply how the food feels in your mouth. It could be crunchy, smooth, or weirdly chewy. Repeat. Texture.
Texture.
What is our second phrase?
Our second phrase is a fantastic compliment for a heavy meal. This is so rich and comforting.
I love using this one. If a pasta dish has a lot of cheese or cream, you do not want to complain and call it heavy. You say it is rich and comforting. Repeat. This is so rich and comforting.
This is so rich and comforting. And our third phrase is for when the food is not comforting at all.
Ah, the polite survival phrase. I have never had anything like this before.
Exactly. It completely avoids talking about whether the food tastes good or bad. It just focuses on the fact that it is a brand new experience for you. Repeat. I have never had anything like this before.
I have never had anything like this before. But if they want you to eat more of that terrible food, you need our fourth phrase. I am pacing myself.
Yes, to pace yourself means to do something slowly so you do not use all your energy, or in this case, all your stomach space, too quickly.
It is the perfect excuse. You are just being a careful, polite eater. Repeat, I am pacing myself.
I am pacing myself. And our fifth phrase is for casual honesty with your close friends. This is just not my thing.
This is such a helpful phrase. It means you do not like the food, but you are not saying the food is disgusting. You are just saying it does not match your personal preference.
It keeps the conversation completely friendly without forcing you to lie to your best friend. Repeat. This is just not my thing.
This is just not my thing.
And we actually have a sixth phrase today. This one is for when you are the person cooking the meal.
Right, the permission phrase. Be honest. Did I overcook this?
Yes. If you know you made a mistake in the kitchen, this phrase removes the awkwardness. It gives your guests permission to be honest, so they do not have to pretend it is perfect.
It shows that you are relaxed and self-aware. Repeat. Be honest. Did I overcook this?
Be honest. Did I overcook this? Now that we have our 6 phrases, let's play a quick game of Say It Better.
I am ready. Give me the first one.
Instead of saying, this food is very weird,
Say it better. It has a very distinct flavor.
much more polite. Instead of saying, it is too heavy,
Say it better. It is incredibly rich.
instead of repeating, it is delicious, for the 5th time tonight,
Say it better. This has so much flavor.
instead of saying, I hate this, to your best friend,
Say it better. This is just not my thing.
and instead of saying, I do not want to eat anymore,
Say it better. I am pacing myself.
okay, that was excellent. Now it is your turn, listeners. We are going to do a guided practice to test your reflexes in a difficult situation.
Imagine you are at a nice dinner party. The host serves you a very strange, bitter soup. You take a polite bite, and the host instantly asks, "How do you like it?"
You want to use the protect and pivot strategy. First, protect their feelings by saying it is a new experience. Then, pivot by asking a question about the ingredients.
Take a moment and speak your complete sentence out loud right now. How do you respond?
You could say, I have never had anything like this before. What is your secret ingredient?
Or you could say, "This has a very distinct flavor. What kind of spices did you use?"
Either of those options will save the conversation completely. You survived the bitter soup.
You did. But before we leave the table entirely, we need to talk about how you feel after the meal is over, and what actually makes these conversations matter.
So, the next time someone hands you a bowl of 6-hour salty fish stew,
I am going to politely pace myself, pivot to a question about their hometown, and hope they do not notice I am not actually chewing.
that is the exact perfect strategy. You have officially survived the dinner table.
Honestly, learning that I do not need a chef's vocabulary is a huge relief. I just need to focus on the texture, keep the conversation moving, and protect the relationship.
Exactly. Whether you use polite distance with a new neighbor or casual honesty with your best friend, the goal is always connection, not a perfect food critique.
That makes eating with people in a second language so much less intimidating. It is about the shared moment, even if the food is aggressively green.
It really is. So, listeners, we have a question for you today. What is the strangest or most memorable meal you have ever been served, and how did you handle it?
Tell us the full story in the comments. We read every single one, and we promise not to judge your polite survival skills.
And if this episode saved your next dinner party, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a lesson.
It really helps everyday English learning grow, and it keeps us making more episodes for you.
Remember, the best compliment you can give a cook is not a fancy adjective. It is genuine curiosity. I am Lily.
And I am Jake.
Thank you for joining us at the table today. We will see you next time.
Stay curious, and good luck out there with the fish stew.